I'm actually doing pretty good, man. Got an opportunity to start shooting this music video that I've been working on for like the past couple of months. So finally putting some energy into something else other than, something negative. So doing that.
Islam. Brother Benjamin Bay. Islam, how you doing, man? Brother Benjamin Bay, Islam, peace and love. Not sure if you can hear me, but all right, let's get into it. Oh, okay, he must be saying something in the chat. Okay. Okay, so he's trying to fix his mic. Islam.
Peace, peace.
All right, going to this piece. This is a this is a proclamation. So Prophet Noble Jew Ali proclaiming the Moorish Americans as a sovereign nation in Havana, Cuba. And as we know, or some may not know, that his holy name is El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. Yeah, from Prophet Noble Jew Ali, or about Prophet Noble Jew Ali in his Havana, Cuba attendance at the meeting. So the holy and illustrious Prophet Noble Jew Ali was born January 8th, 1886, amongst his sleeping Moorish American nation. During those days, all Moors born in the United States were state certified to be commercial property under the All Persons Born Clause of the 14th Amendment. Jew Ali is pictured here holding the flags of Morocco in the United States. Normally, whenever Jew Ali displayed either flag, they were hung in the science of national distress or weakness. Here, or upside down. Here, although Jew Ali's posture is in an upright sitting position, notice his legs are crossed to left over right, symbolizing both countries are in adversity. This picture was taken during 1928 during the Pan American Conference hosted by Havana, Cuba. The Panama was placed on his head. And most people call that a sombrero. But the Panama was placed on his head upon Ali's, by the president of Cuba. So the president of Cuba gave him the sombrero or the Panama as a sign of respect. The Panama was placed, when Noble Jew Ali arrived and registered in Havana, he autographed his high name of El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. So that's the name he signed in at the conference with as his official title. And that name was given to him by Sultan Abdul Aziz Ibu of the Saudi family upon completing the pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca. That event occurred during 1912, shortly after receiving the Committed Adept degree of prophet from the noblest authorities of the ancient Egyptian order. It was there he was bestowed the name of faithful Muslim in order to be accepted into the holy city of Mecca. Was Noble Jew Ali ever a Mason? No. The accuracy of the above dates of his divine ministry on earth alone dispels all the Western rumors begun by the scandalmongers about Noble Jew Ali being a Western Freemason. He was a mastermind, yes. A Freemason, no. Further proof, he was 16 in 1902 when he left the USA or North America and was 5 years too young to even join the Masonic Lodge. So when you hear people talking about he was a Mason, part of the lodge, more things for our tool belt to correct that fact that, of course, he was a Mason, as we know, mother's son, but he was not part of the lodge. Masonic Lodge members, it's an age requirement. He wasn't that age, right? 10 years later, by the time Ali returned as a prophet, he was too angelic and all-knowing to cut down the masonry. No angel can be made into a mason. And we know based on the 101s, angels are just bringers of the light, right? So, but by diluting Drew Ali's image into the nationless Negro lodges, his Western haters would appear to be successful distorting the sacredness of his prophethood in the minds of his people. Albeit prophets are the will of the great God and therefore cannot be confined by the mere oaths of carnal man. Truth is told. If you are honest, oaths are not necessary. Of course, the insertion of these Grand Lodge principles of segregation. So that's another aspect of segregation is lodge principles. So when we go into temples that segregate the man and woman, these are coming from the lodge. All this began after Drew Ali departed out of flesh in July 20th, 1929. The clandestine infiltration of the Western Masonic orders will create massive confusion and self-hatred within the ranks of the Moors. As members, his flock will be scattered, temples not unified, and the national constitution of his government will be overthrown for nearly 100 years after the prophet left his body. Because of this influence of Western Freemasonry, Noble Drew Ali's message to the world has been often confined away from the public by the strictest secrecy. Under a disguise of religious memberships and civic duties, and now Masonic-based Moorish Science Temples of America organizations will claim feigned ownership to all Moorish Americans. In reality, Drew Ali had founded the Moorish Science Temple under the First Amendment of the Constitution as a teaching institution to reach his supreme duty of a prophet, which is to save nations from the wrath of Allah. His Moorish Science Temple was a means to reach the infinite salvation and freedom of a clean, pure nation. Nevertheless, Moorish Science Temple member Charles Kirkland Bey, Master Polyglot, although he was not an adept, acted as a Pan-American chief interpreter for the prophet. Also in attendance were several tribal chiefs of the continental Americas and Secretary of State Hughes of the corporate USA. He was in awe of the pure divinity of the Moorish American Constitution de jure. Also, there were free national delegates from Central and South America and their adjoining islands. So it was all type of nationals of America at this conference. During the conference, Noble Drew Ali was given the North America Mandate for the land, which the United States has been occupying illegally since 1871. This mandate is now in Geneva, Switzerland, awaiting its proclamatory status of the Moorish nation. So ideally, all the temples, all in North America, really Central and South, if we was to unite and do one universal proclamation saying we're united, the mandate is ours. We will see the hardest part is the unity. It's not like the laws don't exist out there. It's the unity. Islam. All right, so the mandate is now in Geneva, Switzerland, awaiting its proclamatory status of the Moorish nation. While attending the 1928 Pan American Conference for Indigenous Nations, Noble Drew Ali did indeed attach the Moorish Americans to the free national powers of the earth. During his appearance in Havana, Cuba, Drew Ali registered the Moorish Americans as a generic nation with a free national constitution de jure. This demonstration brought to light his religious Moorish Science Temple organization was established to be a non-governmental organization and had no natural functions at the Pan American Conference of Nations, Tribes, and Families. The conference would later be the designer of the world-renowned United Nations and Declaration of Human Rights. So this what he attended was not the United Nations yet. It wasn't the Declaration of Human Rights yet. it was free that, but Islam. But you said it was still an international platform. Islam, peace of love, bro. Islam. Peace. All right, so it was still an international. It was still an international platform, but once again, it was no such thing as the UN at this time. This was before that. All right. In these days, the Moorish comprehend very little of their prophet, what their prophet has brought them. During the post-conference years, the USA refusal to yield the hallowed soil to the Moorish will result in a high warning from Noble Jew Ali, the Holy Prophet. In quote, he states, "Until my Moors are free in their own home, the worst is yet to come. The United States owes the Moors a great debt. They must be made to pay and pay with compound interest. They have but one more war to win." The next year, Ali left his body, saying, "I can better fight the rest of this battle on the Soul Plain, where Satan cannot hide." Within the following 12 years, after the transition of Noble Jew Ali, the stock market had crashed. Illuminati's quote-unquote Black Pope and Federal Reserve Bank had taken over the fake sovereignty of the corporate United States, and an economical drought called the Great Depression would break the economical stability of every citizen except for the heads of the 10 families. So you see the prophecy that Noble Jew Ali was seeing slowly taking place after his transition, and the schism operation of the Moorish movement got broken up. Worse yet, as if it was not enough to soften her hardened heart, the USA will be functioning under a perpetual maritime law that will go into effect within 4 years, or 1933. And we know 1933, everything that happened that year, right? Well, HJR 192, I believe, went from gold standard to fiat, and other things. Worse yet, who heard Drew Ali's prophecy? The United States has but one more war to win. And to this day, after 50 years plus years in Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq, the USA has not won another war since World War II. One of Ali's last warnings was, if you do not believe me that I'm a prophet, watch my prophecies. Surely this unprecedented Surely with this unprecedented bio, who can deny Prophet Noble Jew Ali is indeed Allah's last and greatest prophet? Amen. So who all in here, brother? So yeah, everybody, especially the new people I know. No, this is just a publication from the same author from Exhuman of a Nation. Yeah, he had a proclamation that he put together, giving like a summary rundown of but yeah, so brother, brother Richard, Teresa, Benjamin Bay, Pierre, Taylor, Jerry Bay. This is just more ammo for the tool belt. So once again, when we talking to people, we got perspective. We know how things went down on multiple levels. How many is this new to anybody? This information?
Yeah, it's to me for sure.
I've read it before, not this exact paper, but I've heard the information before through literature.
Teresa?
Yeah, I heard of it before. Islam, everybody.
Islam.
Islam.
All right.
It's like a message to America. Explain certain things.
Right. Yeah. Islam. All right. What about you, brother? It's new to you?
I ain't gonna lie. I'm still trying to follow along with it. I got caught up in a certain point in my head.
No, ask a question. Ask a question before we transition to the next.
You said at a point like Noble Drew Ali is the last and the greatest of all prophets. Like, I believe he was a great prophet, but like, I don't know. I believe God has more to come.
No, it's not saying that there won't be no more. He's just the last as of right now on record.
Right.
He's the last one that did us the great work. You know what I mean? But it's always going to be a time where it's going to be a messenger brought to stiff necked people. You know what I mean? But yeah, yeah, we need a messenger, man. Messenger of the light.
They still Jesus.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. I'm like, I don't have a new Jesus in the form of, the prophet. Be like, I understand he's got great things that he taught us, but I don't think we should put any one man, you know what I'm saying, in front of the whole thing. Put any one man in front of the whole thing. Let one man go down, y'all, everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's why we all supposed to be essentially messengers of the light.
Really.
So when one person falls, we can continue the situation.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I could say I definitely learned a lot of new facts. Like I know comparatively, I heard Tariq Nasheed like 2 months ago basically go in talking bad of the Moors and like the origin of his receipts of Noble Drew Ali and Far Muhammad. And this is another light of the same thing. We said like how they said he was a Mason and he couldn't have been a Mason, or I just heard a variety of slander towards the Moors, and you spoke on a different light, showing how it could be construed one way, but still the facts should point another way.
Right. And yeah, so in this, I don't know when you tapped in, but he was too young to even be a Mason. Like even on that,
Yeah.
on their little rules, right?
Yeah. I think the way I heard it was like he was a minion of Fard Muhammad, who didn't Fard train Noble Drew Ali?
Other way around.
Other way around. Okay. So who trained Noble Drew Ali?
I don't know what you mean by train, but he was given his El Hajj by Sultan Abdul Aziz.
Okay, the Sultan, yeah. And basically he was very fair skinned looking at the Sultan. So that was like the thing saying he was like an agent of some families, which is why the El Bey and titles are homages to that ilk, is what I've heard, but I haven't been able to fully define it. Could be conspiracy from this point, but you're painting a light on development of them, yes.
Yeah. These they bleach out a lot of sultans, but he was about your color. Sultan Abdul Aziz, maybe just a tad bit lighter, but he wasn't Albion looking person. So that that's that. And also to answer your question, he got his degree of prophetship from the noble authorities of the ancient Egyptian order, which allowed him to even go to Mecca, because they're pretty strict in Mecca. You got to be a Muslim or Muslim to step foot in there. So it was a couple prerequisites that took place, and he was named the faithful based on his missionary work that he wanted to do coming back to America.
Yeah, and with that, it seems kind of like odd to hear ancient Egyptian order has validity when I thought Egypt was like a bastardization of Kemet, which is here. So like, it's kind of weird to see what over there validates what's over here, if over here is where it started.
Yeah. But when your mind frame knows that, when people like, for instance, when he went to the Sultan, he was informed that he was Timothy Drew. But when he was Timothy Drew, he got informed by the Sultan, the same thing like quote unquote Malcolm X got informed about the real history of his land. And then when he came back, he let that be known. So it's people in the East that know about the West being original and anointed prophet, basically. Because remember, when you're saying Sultan, you're talking empire. And if North, Central, and South America was an empire at one point when the people were intact, And then you got people from an empire at this time when Nobuju Ali was
Hmm.
alive. It was an actual empire, and they're verifying like, yeah, that's part of this empire. Go back and tell your people, like, yeah, you on the right page. That's essentially what happened. It's not like
Hmm.
the world, people know. It's not a too much of a secret like that, but yeah, but yeah. Any
Yeah,
other?
it's one thing I mentioned like in the chat earlier, like how this is like the more history of the world. This kind of stories and anecdotes would be like beast of bars, cinematically to tell, with like a lot of sugar, very niggified, very boondocks. You know what I'm saying? But like these quips of like, oh, you went over there to learn your stuff over here, and this the legit talk trash about like a rap battle kind of thing. These kind of things are what I'm trying to like harness by comprehending and understanding we're learning in these sessions here. So I just want to like say thank you for this guidance, for this thought. Yeah, I mean,
Right, no problem, man. So you try to take the information, and do a satire,
oh for sure. Oh yeah, sugar as fuck, bro. Diabetically. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, hey man, hey, however wake the people up, man. Shit,
So
cartoon,
no,
music, whatever you got to do, man.
thank you, thank you.
Wake the
I
people.
yield, I yield.
Yep. All right. Um. So I found something very interesting about the word Puente, because this is a city. This is a city. Can everybody see the screen where it says Moorish Bridges of Andalusia? Everybody can see that? Okay. So literally last night I found out Puente, which is a city, California territory. It means bridge.
Yep.
I had no
Yes,
clue.
it is.
Right. So this is a little piece on Moorish bridges of Andalusia. We're gonna go into a couple so we can see that most of these bridges you see in the world come from us. This is not a prescribed Moorish author either. I'm just gonna go to a couple.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that. I was literally just looking up like the infrastructures in Granada, Spain. I was reading up on like the infrastructures there. So everything is factual, man. I used to think that all of this stuff was kind of like, like tomfoolery, basically, like me just like then after a while, I started digging and actually like looking up more information on these things, and it started making much more sense, and it started painting a bigger picture, honestly. And at first, my friends were like, at first, my friends were honestly thinking I was like going nuts, honestly. Like I would literally peep on my friends, like, bro, something's going on, bro. And honestly, no one's really like batting an eye or really talking about it. And I didn't really know a lot about what I was talking about. But then my sister kind of laced me up and she was like, you do realize that there's pyramids in the Grand Canyon. And she started like, I was just like, what the fuck? There is. So just the fact that she was kind of like peeping me in on stuff that I honestly had no clue or information on. And then I started basically like I treated it like a video game. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start putting some energy in the same way I'd be putting the energy into the Xbox or the PS4.
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna use that energy to start researching stuff and applying it so that I could be more knowledgeable about what it is that I'm talking about. Because I honestly feel like we're not really using ourselves to our full potential. And since I've honestly, bro, since I've been following you, Kushte, and just following a majority of like some of you more on social media, it's honestly been giving me a shit ton of clarity, and I feel like I'm locked into that frequency of the collective, or just in general, like knowing myself and who I am and where my ancestors came from and where my history lies. I feel like that's what people are not tuned into. And just when people have conversations with me and I start going on rants about these type of things, people are just like, "Whoa, this guy knows his shit," or he's knowledgeable, or he has an insight on things that most average, American citizens don't really like care about, which they should. It's weird, but yeah, I appreciate joining in on these Zooms, and I appreciate you reaching out, man, because not a lot of people do that, or just in general. Like I feel like nowadays people can't. It's very difficult for people to be genuine and authentic nowadays. So I do appreciate you guys, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate you, man. Islam. I'm gonna cover a couple bridges or puentes. So we got bridges of Cordoba, right? The Moors crossed the Straits of Gibraltar into the present day city of Tarifa in Spain in 711 from what is now Morocco. The Tarifa, they traveled over land approximately 220 kilometers to the Roman city of Cordoba, establishing a regional caliphate, which functioned for several hundred years as an outlying colony of the Umayyad dynasty, administered from Damascus. I don't know who've heard of Damascus, but when I first heard of Damascus, and y'all can let me know if you feel I'm wrong or not, but there was a quote from Noble Jew Ali. I believe it was Caveat Emptor, and he uses, am I right, Benjamin Bay? The sword from Damascus.
Yeah, caveat emptor.
Caveat Emptor, right? He mentions Damascus. As far as with the great sword, it's gonna come down like a great sword from Damascus, basically coming down on the smelly culprits or whatnot. So I think that was the lingo. So he's referring to a brother at Damascus who was the head of the Umayyad dynasty. So I just wanted to bring that out. So when the power shifted from the Umayyads in Damascus to the Abbasids in Baghdad, the Cordobian al-Rahman declared himself caliph in 929, effectively establishing the independence of Cordoba. The caliphal period lasted from 929 to 1031, during which lavish palaces and public buildings were constructed in Cordoba. Puente Romano. Early accounts by Moorish travelers arriving in Cordoba indicate that they were impressed by the ruins of a 17-span Roman bridge crossing the Guadalquivir River. The original bridge, which lies on the Via Augusta, may have been built in the time of Augustus. Maldonado interprets the chronicles of Julius Caesar to suggest that the Roman bridge of boats or heavy timber supported by baskets filled with stones predated the masonry structure, but also theorizes that the bridge may have been built during the time of Octavius. During the Moorish domination of the city, the bridge connected to the Torre de la Calahorra, a fortress tower on the southeastern bank, to the Mezquita or mosque on the northwest bank of Guadalquivir. Whatever the lineage of the bridge across the Guadalquivir prior to the 8th century, Muslims arriving to Cordoba in 711 found a bridge partially destroyed, probably on the passage of time and floods. I'm not going to read all the descriptions. I'm going to actually just go to the bridges so y'all can see the visuals. And then y'all can go on your own time, because it's going to be about an hour if I go through every detailed description. So the Puente Romano Moorish Bridge. You can notate that. Go to Google and go to images. We got the Puente Nogales, another Moorish bridge. And this goes hand in hand when we're talking to people about this Moorish architecture, not only buildings with the domes, but we build bridges with the same dome structure. Matter of fact, let me go back to a visual. You see the same dome structures in the bridge itself too? That arch. So we was heavy with the arches, man. Right? Puente Nogales, look at these bridges. Typically you can go underneath them, right? Right, here's a schematic of the structure. We know the dome comes from the arc. It symbolizes an arc as well, right? More bridges. The Puente sobre el Arroyo, Cartaranas Bridge. All of them dome structures. And here's a bridge that connected Cordoba to Seville. Cordoba to Seville. All got these arches. Seemed like pretty much every single one for the most part, arched up. Brother Salim, Islam.
Islamism. Happy Sunday.
Every Sunday, man. So we're going over these, I don't know if you know Puente meant bridge. I don't know if you knew that. But we're going over these Moorish bridges so we can have something to add to, most people know about the Moorish architecture and the domes, but we also got these bridges, man, with the same arcs and things of that nature. This Puente Califo sobre el Cadunato. All right. Another one, Puente Quebrado. So this is a real thing. Most bridges come from the Moor. So this is a couple names to jot down, just to have in y'all tool belt. When talking to people, I'm gonna actually transition now. I just wanted to show y'all that. This was I feel like it divinely just fell in my lap last night with the whole Puente thing. Cause like I said, we here at Cali, at Khalifa territory, and it's a city called Puente that I've been, my whole life I've been. Yeah, La Puente. So the bridge, right? The bridge. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go through a book that we've been reading the last couple weeks. Spirituality through religions. Anybody have any thoughts before I transition?
I thought this way. I'll put it this way, bro.
Charissa, Celine, Jerry Bay, Pierre, any thoughts? Questions, concerns? Oh, Wyclef is a party to, I'm not sure what he meant by that. Wyclef is a party to Damascus. Not quite sure.
Oh yeah, it's one of his tracks. He's like, it says a party to Damascus. That's why I know the phrase Damascus or the town from Wyclef Jean.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. All righty. So transitioning to spirituality before religions. The hidden wisdom of the black hole, ancient science and mathematics, deep within the womb of woman. Oh, y'all see Charissa with the background. I got the cherry top up there, huh?
What's
It's called Hidden Wisdom of the Black Hole.
hidden wisdom of the black hole?
Mm-hmm. And then ancient science and mathematics, deep within the womb of woman. That's a cold title, ain't it?
The hidden wisdom of the black hole.
The ancient science and mathematics, deep within the womb of woman. The ancient science and mathematics. Deep within the womb of woman. So we're doing a little as above, so below analysis. It's not called that, I'm just calling it that, but essentially that we're gonna go in depth with that. So Mayat or balance demonstrates the balance of harmony between the cosmic universe and the human woman's womb. Comparisons can be made between one, black holes in space, right? Going through the black hole, going through the wormhole and out the white hole to another galaxy, right? Earth is in the Milky Way. So there's other galaxies, right? So comparisons can be made to one, black holes in space and the human placenta. Two, white holes on the other side of the black holes and the embryo navel on the other side of the placenta. Three, wormholes that connect black holes to white holes and the umbilical cord that connects the mother placenta to the embryo's navel. Right, so we're doing a comparison. Everybody tracking?
I'm trying.
Where you?
I'm stuck at number 2. I'm really at number 1. Finish right now.
I'm so below.
Right. So within you have, right, right. You got that? That makes sense? So we're gonna get into, all right. I'm gonna ask you this question after I go into in depth what the black hole is, in depth what the wormhole is. And then maybe that'll help. All right. Black holes. There are more than 2,000 or 2 trillion, I'm sorry, galaxies. And each galaxy has a black hole in its center. These black holes are millions and sometimes billions times the size of our sun. Regular sized black holes form when stars 20 times the size of our sun crash and burn. As the star collapses, it becomes a supernova. When the inner core of the supernova collapses, it shrinks down to the size of a ping pong ball. This decrease in size creates a black hole. All right, so stars form and they burn out.
When you still like go in it? The little.
Right, creates a black hole.
That's weird.
Right.
Because if it was bigger than the sun,
It's bigger than the sun, right?
and then it explodes or whatever, and it goes smaller than a ping pong, but it's still a hole.
Creates, that's what the whole, right, it gets created. Creates a vacuum, exactly,
That's crazy.
right? So black holes attract and capture everything in its environment. During what is called the cosmic dark ages, the cosmos was compact, small, and dense clouds of hydrogen and helium gas that captured more and more gas. When this tight ball of gases collapsed, nuclear fusion occurred. These huge black holes were created in the dark universe. Black holes live by dark matter, helping them attract, capture, and consume solid matter. Let me let Brother Sharif in here. All right. Hydrogen and helium are energized by dark, unseen matter. Energy from dark matter create black holes. Black holes are omnivores. They devour everything. So that's what you call it, the vacuum. But that's essentially the vacuum, right? A black hole can be compared to a carbon atom. Brother Sharif, Islam.
Islam, brother, Islam.
So a black hole can be compared to a carbon atom in melanin because it attracts and captures light. The other side of the black hole is the white hole. You follow me? The other side of the black hole, so the other side of the black hole, or the exit, is the white hole. All right.
So that's like the going through like the umbilical cord to like the mom or
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Connecting these two holes is a wormhole, and that's the umbilical, right?
The worm.
The wormhole
Yeah,
will be equivalent to inside the mom,
the umbilical.
the umbilical. There you go. Right. As above, so below.
That's the same, so that-
Mhm. So black holes are the beginning point, and white holes are the ending point. The wormhole is the intergalactic tunnel that connects the black and white holes to each other, somewhat like a cosmic subway system. The event horizon is the point of no escape when entering the black hole. It's like going over the edge of a waterfall. Once you reach the edge, there is no turning back. From this point, whatever is drawn into the black hole and travels through the wormhole is ejected out of the white hole on the other end. The cosmic power of the black hole is to attract and capture everything in its environment. Black holes are gravitational openings in space and time that are endless voids that give them the appearance of being black. The black hole's surface gravity is so strong that the speed needed to escape from them is greater than the speed of light, which is the speed of darkness, because wherever light goes, darkness is already there. Black holes attract and capture light and does not allow the light to escape. Black holes pull in stars, they pull in gas and dust surrounding its center. Every black hole is connected to a white hole through a tunnel-like wormhole. Wormholes are like the cosmic umbilical cords. It can be theorized that wormholes can be used to get from one destination to another in the cosmic universe without covering the intervening distance through a black hole, like a cosmic subway system. We can imagine these wormholes as tubes running through a fourth, fifth, and even sixth dimension. Black holes might serve as time-space machines capable of carrying whatever is captured by it to a remote past or even a distant future. Before I move on, is it coming? Is it getting there? All right, getting there. Any questions before I continue, even in the Zoom?
All is well. All is well over here, bro.
All is well. We all tracking? All right. Pierre, how you doing over there, man? All right. All right.
Doing well, Islam.
A quasar, or a QSO, which is a quasi-stellar objects, is the energy released when gas and dust in star systems fall into an immense black hole in the core of such galaxy. A funneling and eventual emergence into view of matter pouring into a multiple of black holes in other parts of the universe, or even in other star systems in the universe. A star's conception is the outcome of a supernova explosion. So supernova explosion causes stars, right? Stars with a mass up to about 7 times that of our sun leave behind a very dense neutron star, typically about 12 to 20 miles across. Stars with even greater mass are virtually crushed out of existence. They leave behind a region of space with such enormous gravity that nothing, not even light, can escape it. We call such a region a black hole. Stars seem to last forever, but they don't. The sun is our star. It is much bigger than Earth. It has been shifting for 5 billion years. It will probably shine for another 5 billion years. That's a long, long time, but it is not forever. Stars are born. They last a long time, and then they die out. Right? So that's context. It lasts forever for us because we have expiration dates. We are the physical carnal and the carnal self. Right? Stars are born. They last a long time and then they die out. Jalisa Islam.
Islam, sorry.
Slime. The gas particles are spread far apart. After a long time, the gas cools. Then the star collapses. The gas is cool. I'm sorry. I said grass. The gas is cool. Then the star collapses. Gravity pulls the gases towards the center. The gases pack closer and closer together. The gases in a star, like the sun, may be packed into a space even smaller than Earth. Some stars contain a much greater amount of gases than our sun. These stars have greater mass. The star with more mass than the sun packs together more tightly. It becomes a black hole. It is called a black hole because no light can escape from it. Material can go into it, but never come out. A black hole is more like a ball of gases packed together very tightly than it is like a hole. That's what causes the vacuum. How it's packed.
So when you go in, you can't get out.
The other side, the white hole. We cannot see a black hole, but we know it's there. A black hole has strong gravity. Back to the vacuum, right? It pulls in a nearby star. The star changes position as the black hole pulls on it. And we can see it move from side to side. Strong X-rays also tell us where there is a black hole. As gases are pulled towards a black hole, X-rays are made just outside the hole itself. We can pick up those X-rays with X-ray telescopes. You see gases stream away from the star and pulled into space. After swirling about, they form a stream that flows into a place close by. That is where the black hole is located. The gases give off X-rays, and then they disappear. The black hole is pulling the star apart. As you get closer to the black hole, gravity becomes millions of times greater than the gravity on Earth. Strange things begin to happen. Imagine that you are moving feet first. Gravity at your feet is much stronger than it is at your head. Your feet are pulled more than your head because they are closer to the black hole. You are stretched out. Your body gets longer and longer, thinner and thinner. 1,000 miles from the black hole, you would be very long, and then you will be pulled apart. But suppose that somehow you were able to stay together and move even closer. You will move faster and faster towards the black hole. When you reach the edge, you will be bombarded by X-rays. All of a sudden, you will be over the edge and inside the black hole. Gravity is so strong, it pulls you apart and your atoms separated. Then, even your atoms are broken into quarks and leptons. I don't know if y'all I don't know if y'all took science class, but that's something that the atom can even be broke down even more. Like, so we know an atom, and we can break that down to protons, electrons, neutrons, and that can get broke down to quarks and leptons.
Kind of feeling like if your spirit is like temperature, so it's like flying, and like your feet are like, you know, down here, so the gravity is like.
The gravitational pull at certain heights.
Yeah,
Or certain,
like
certain
pulling
levels.
your body, your feet down to the ground, but your spirit is like here, so it's like, it'll pull the spark first.
You had stands, so you had a little bit, pull the iron and everything back to the ground.
Right.
Wear shoes, but you wear shoes most of the time, so it probably keeps attachment.
Yeah. There is so much gas and it is packed so tightly together, a single thimble weighs billions of tons. Don't worry if you cannot imagine anything so heavy. No one can. It is incredible. Everything about black holes are incredible. Astronomers believe there may be billions of them, or billions of black holes. There may be big ones and also small ones. Whenever a massive star collapses, it probably becomes a black hole. And stars have been collapsing for billions of years. This power of black holes to attract is complicated by the white hole's ability to repulse and eject everything out the other side. Biologically speaking, the cosmic black hole is the human placenta. So back to the, as this relates to the woman or the below part, right? We've been talking about the above. So no, the below aspect, we're dealing with the black hole is like the human placenta in the mother's womb. The mother's placenta pulls in all things around it in order to send it to her baby, right? So we see the connection, as above, so below. Now we're transitioning to the wormhole. You got any question on the black hole? Or
No, I'm just saying,
conversation?
No, because that's true, because like all my iron and all my vitamins, if I'm like it'll pull it into the baby. Like the baby will take like all of iron when I had money, because it pulled everything from me.
It's pulling like a vacuum.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
pulled it from me personally, and then it went into her. And then now when I had her, I was like, I didn't have my iron. And then they had to give me like iron pills and stuff. But she took it, but she got it though. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I didn't get it. And it was just like strange to me. So everything that I gotta keep myself healthy in that sense of taking the vitamins for me, because if I have any iron at all, like the baby will take it. And it will leave me nothing.
Yeah,
The vacuum.
Yeah.
Just vacuuming everything. That's interesting.
Mhm.
That's very true though.
Any thoughts in the Zoom? Any statements? All right. Transitioning to wormhole. A wormhole can be visualized as a tunnel with two ends. One end the black hole, the other end the white hole. Each at opposite points in space and time, i.e. different places or different points of time. A wormhole could connect extremely long distances, such as 1 billion light years or more, into short distances, such as a few yards. And I remember in these movies, right? They always kind of show these like time machines or whatever, like you going through this little real fast and you come out the other end, you're in another location, but it happens like in a couple seconds. So these cartoons or these movies from back in the day that show that, the time, Back to the Future, all type of, a lot of movies that show a time machine in that type of way, but they're depicting what we're talking about right now.
No, I was watching, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie or the show called Manifest.
Mhm.
They go into like this hole and it's like their family, it showed like the concept of like the family. They had twins, one mom and the one twin went on one flight, and dad and the other twin went on another flight, and then one of the flights went in a black hole, and you know, one flight that landed, 5 years had passed, but the other flight that went into the wormhole, when they came out, they did not age, and it was like 5 years later, but they felt like it was only like 2 hours because they didn't age.
Right.
So it was kind of like a strange little phenomenon, and they got like this magic, they got like weird powers and stuff, where they was hearing like everything. They got things going on, powers and stuff like that, but it was all about the thing.
Yeah, you see it's directly correlated. Nothing, there's never a new script being made. It's always based on something that's actually in reality.
Yeah.
And they put their little satire twist on it or whatever, but
exactly.
No. So you could only enter from the black hole side and leave from the white hole side. Once in the wormhole, you would be able to see light that fell in from the black hole. And likewise, particles from the interior white hole region escape on the other side of the white hole. Wormholes would allow travel from one part of the universe to another part of the universe through galaxies, clusters, or even superclusters. So I don't know if y'all heard of these clusters, but for example, since we're on Earth, we are in the Milky Way, and in the Milky Way is in what you call the Virgo supercluster. Y'all can cross-reference that, but we are living in a cluster, and our Earth is in the Virgo supercluster. Wormholes might even allow effective superluminal or faster than light travel. If 2 points, the black hole and the white hole, are connected by a wormhole, then the attraction of black hole and the repulsion of the white hole would enable whatever was traveling through the wormhole to move faster than the speed of light, which is the speed of darkness. Wherever light goes, darkness is already there. That's crazy, Andy, when you think about it like that.
Because in reverse, you think in the dark, it's like a light is there, it's just you can't set it down. Yeah, but wherever light goes. Yeah,
Maybe that's right.
Or,
reverse it.
which part? Just the light, just the,
Just the end part right now.
wherever light goes, darkness is already there. Wormholes allow interstellar, intergalactic, and sometimes even interuniversal travel within human lifetime scales. Wormholes can serve as this method of time-space travel because a wormhole is a conduit. Everybody knows what a conduit is, right? Conduit. Everybody know what a conduit is, right? Something that, a gateway or something that assists in the transmission of something, right?
Would the bridge from the Avengers be something like a time portal? You know, from
Right.
Asgard to Earth. You know what I mean? Like, well, that would be a conduit, the bridge on Avengers.
Yeah.
From Asgard to Earth. But I get anything.
And it's also, we just read about the Puente, right? The Moorish bridges. That's on the physical. You feel me? You see the connection? That was an accident. That wasn't planned. I just thought about that right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I probably got Moorish bridges, because it's so below, right? It's physically and symbolic to these wormholes. That just came to my mind right now. All right, so because a wormhole is a conduit through the fourth dimension of the space-time continuum, and not just through space, wormholes might be utilized for travel through time as well as through space. Think of length, width, and depth as the first three dimensions. Fuse these three dimensions, length, width, and depth, together. The result is the fourth dimension, the space-time continuum. Another way to imagine wormholes is to imagine that we want to get from one place to another on the space continuum dimension, from home to a distant planet. Even with a spaceship, this journey could take thousands of years or even longer. If you have one end of the wormhole at school, or the black hole, and the other end at home, the white hole, then you could just step through the wormhole in class and arrive at home instantaneously. The other end could even be a faraway planet in a distant galaxy, and you could easily go out on a day trip in another planet in another galaxy. The movie and television series Stargate, that's what I was thinking of, Stargate. Everybody seen Stargate? You never seen Stargate?
Like the old,
The old one.
series.
Yeah, they
They're
going
pretty old.
Yeah,
I'm not that old. They're like older than I am. So
yeah. You familiar with that? The Stargate?
yeah. It's like a big circle they go through.
Mm-hmm.
It has like designs on the circle.
Yep.
They go in throughout. Yeah, sure.
So now what else is called the Stargate?
The woman,
The womb, right?
area.
Right. But there we have it. Right. The movie and television series Stargate explored this idea. Biologically speaking, the cosmic wormhole is like the umbilical cord in a mother's womb. When mother's placenta attracts and captures nutrients, you just said that, the iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are sent through the wormhole faster than the speed of light. This nutritional transfer occurs in the darkness of the mother's womb, right? So the womb is the black hole, right?
Okay.
Transitioning to white holes more in depth, dealing with white holes. A white hole is a hypothetical region of space-time which cannot be entered from the outside, although matter and light can escape from it. In this sense, white holes can only allow matter to exit from it. Like black holes, white holes have properties like mass. This may imply that black holes and white holes are two ends of a common bridge called a wormhole. A white hole is the navel entry of the fetus. This is just a review. A black hole is like the placenta attached to the mother's urine wall. A white hole is like the navel connected to the fetus. A wormhole that connects to a black hole to a white hole is like an umbilical cord that connects the mother's placenta to the navel of the fetus. With an understanding of this astronomical and biological comparison, let us compare the biological principles of childbirth. So transition into a biological, or the biology of the hidden wisdom of the womb, or the woman's womb. Reproduction is a matter of life through cell division. This process is comprised of two processes in cell division, and these two processes are called mitosis and meiosis. I don't know if y'all, this takes me back to 9th grade, but so mitosis is MITOSIS, and then
That's it, the biology of the fetus.
yes, and then we got meiosis, MEIOSIS, and this we're talking about the splitting up or the division of the atom. So one, mitosis is a type of cell division that results in two daughter cells, each having the same number and kind of chromosomes as the parent nucleus, typically of ordinary tissue growth. Meiosis is a type of cell division that results in 4 daughter cells, each with half the number of the chromosomes of the parent cell, as in the production of gametes and plant spores. The nucleus is at the center of the cell. The nucleus is where the heredity or hereditament, we're talking about inheritance, heredity are the traits of why, she looks like you or our dad, or how we look like the original of where we come from, the DNA. So the nucleus is where the heredity materials of the cell are assembled in the chromosomes. Chromosomes are coiled molecular repositories of DNA strands. During copulation, both organisms create fluids. The male sends fluids into the female with an electrical flow. The female's open cervix and her eggs magnetize the male fluid to become an incoming wave to direct sperm to the egg. So that magnetizing creates what I'm gonna call what you said, the vacuum. That's the theme, but that's the vacuum that gets created. According to where the sperm is deposited depends on the length of the swim of the sperm. Once the sperm and egg unite, fertilization is initiated. Conception takes place, and the blastoclus or blastula implants the uterine walls, transitioning to the placenta. The placenta is a temporary organ that connects the developing fetus via the umbilical cord to the uterine wall to allow nutrient uptake, thermal regulation, so regulation of temperature, waste elimination, and gas exchange via the mother's blood supply to fight against internal infection, and to produce hormones which support pregnancy. Placentas are a defining characteristic of placental mammals. So we see everything that the placenta does. The placenta regulates temperature. The placenta makes sure the baby is not getting an infection.
That's true, though, because I know some people who actually like did a lot of drugs, and they're, you know, when they have babies, or even like with, Magic Johnson, when they say they had AIDS, whatever, you know, the baby didn't really necessarily come out with that, it was like so protected in there, you know, and then a lot of people that do drugs and stuff, their babies still kind of somewhat, sometimes they come out okay, because of the protection of it. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not only the nutrients that passes, but regulation of blood, preventing infection as well. So the placenta functions with two components. One, the fetal placenta, which develops from the same blastoclasts or platusa or blastula that forms the fetus. And two, the maternal placenta, which develops from the maternal urine tissue or uterine tissue. It metabolizes a number of substances and can release metabolic products into material or maternal or fetal circulations. The placenta is expelled from the body after birth of the fetus. The word placenta comes from the Latin word for a type of cake, from Greek, flat slab-like, in reference to its round, flat appearance in humans.
That's what I'm
Placenta is.
Placenta is what they try to take after birth, saying it's, you know,
Oh,
that's what the baby goes for.
yeah.
You think about the umbilical cord.
Flat, oh,
Yeah.
Well, you thought it was flat or?
no, they're saying it's flat,
Yes,
yeah, when
it's
it comes
flat.
out.
Yeah, because it goes through the stages of, you know,
Yeah.
on the womb and then manifests thought and then growing into that placenta. Then comes the seed of life, then the growth hormone develops in the process of that. And then it starts to, that is and all that shit.
Yeah, no,
Gotta play the video on that.
I watched my cat eat. No, I did.
Keep this out, nobody wants to know about cats eating.
No, they said no.
I'm thinking, I heard about people eating it. You know?
No, they do. They do, but that's like, I don't see, but no, that's how I learned
They do that just like.
Nutrients.
the nutrients. Cause I asked my mom,
It's like a dream.
cause
Like
my,
taking the blood from children, you know what I'm saying?
my mom has like 5 cats right now, so like, when we had cats when we were little, like, they had babies, and then right then and there, like, she had the baby, and
Suck up the blood.
yeah, ate the whole thing back, and I was, oh.
Yeah.
Thank you, you know, like, she's putting all the nutrients back in.
Yeah.
We won't do that.
Yeah.
But no, I understand like why the Albions, if they are like, you know,
They lack it, you know.
have animal type there, you know, then they would do something like animalistic like that.
Because they have animal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's-
Troglodyte.
Yeah, and they just put that nutrients back in, you know, they're sucking off my implants and stuff, so.
Mhm. So, placental structure. In female humans, the placenta averages 9 inches in length and 0.81 inches in thickness, with the center being the thickest and the edges being the thinnest. It typically weighs approximately over 1 pound. It has a dark reddish blue or crimson color. It connects to the fetus by an umbilical cord approximately 22 to 24 inches in length, which contains 2 umbilical arteries and 1 umbilical vein. So when we talk about the cord, it got 2 arteries and 1 vein. In female humans, the placenta usually has a disc shape, but varies in size. The placenta begins to develop upon implantation of the blastocyst or blastula into the material endometrium. The outer layer of the blastoclist or blastula becomes the trophoblast, which forms the outer layer of the placenta. Development of the maternal blood supply to the placenta is complete by the end of the first trimester of pregnancy in week 14. No intermingling of fetus and mental blood occurs because there is a placental barrier, birth, or placental expulsion. That's the next topic. So placental expulsion, or which is the root word is expel or push out, right? Placental expulsion begins as a physiological separation from the wall of the uterus. The period from just after the child is born until just after the placenta is expelled is called the third stage of labor. The placenta is usually expelled within 15 to 30 minutes of birth. It is theorized that there is no medical reason to do this. On the contrary, not cutting the cord helps the baby in its adaptation to extra-oriented life, especially in preterm infants. So, right, the placenta is supposed to, you're not supposed to cut it. It's supposed to fall out naturally, right?
Yeah.
It takes, so it gets the last of the nutrient sink it, knock it off and say, you could cut that shit
Hey,
and rush the
cut that
baby
shit
out.
out.
They can put that shit in Asians, like.
Right, so they can suck it out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so gross. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, most of them, they keep it for stem cell research and nutrients, because it's nutrient, it is nutrients.
Yeah.
There's nutrients in there, so I think even it's humans that take it and make pills and dry it out,
Yes,
crush it,
and they eat it back.
yeah, take the pills.
Mhm.
Yep.
Or can't, no. Like, put it in the-
Yeah. Nutrition. The placenta acts as an intermediary for the transfer of nutrients between mother and fetus. Intervillous spaces in the human embryology is the space between the villi containing the vessels of the mother and the embryo and the placenta. In conjunction with the maternal blood, allow the transfer of nutrients and oxygen from the mother to the fetus, and the transfer of waste products and carbon dioxide back from the fetus to the maternal blood. So it also cleans out. It's cleaning out unnecessary debris or poisons, essentially. Nutrient transfer to the fetus can occur via both active and passive transport. During pregnancy, the glands and blood vessels in the endometrium further increase in size and number. Vascular spaces fuse and become interconnected, forming the placenta, which supplies oxygen and nutrition to the embryo. The fetus then gains access to nutrition and proliferates rapidly and forms a network of branching processes which cover the entire embryo and invade and destroy the maternal tissues. With this psychological destructive process, the maternal blood vessels of the endometrium are opened, with the result that the spaces in the trophoblastic network are filled with maternal blood. These spaces communicate freely with one another and become greatly distended and form in intervillous spaces from which the fetus gain nutrition. So that's, remember we talked about the stars pretty much blowing up or disintegrating, getting smaller, forming these black holes.
Mhm.
That's what's going on in here. The maternal vessels, right? This nutritional transfer can be compared to everything that is attracted and captured by the black hole and sent through the wormhole or the umbilical cord, exiting out of the white hole or the fetus navel into the fetus. Excretion. Before I continue, any thoughts? We seeing the connection? This is just analysis, as above, so below analysis with in-depthness. Excretion. Waste products excreted from the fetus, such as urea, uric acid, and creatine, which is a biochemical compound formed in protein metabolism and present in living tissues. It is involved in the supply of energy for the muscular contraction, are transferred to the material blood by diffusion across the placenta, the umbilical cord, An embryo gets nutrition and blood supply through the umbilical cord, connecting the embryo to the placenta, or blood-filled nutrition-rich temporary organ worker. The placenta is filled with blood vessels and provides a large surface that exchanges gases, nutrition, and wastes. Eventually, it becomes the body stalk and then umbilical cord, which connects to the fetus to the placenta. Amniotic fluid begins to accumulate in the sac. The female egg cell is one of the largest cells in the human body. The fallopian tube is the place where fertilization takes place. In placental mammals, the umbilical cord, also called the navel string or birth cord, is a conduit between the developing embryo or fetus and placenta. During prenatal development, the umbilical cord is physiologically and genetically part of the fetus and normally contains two arteries, the umbilical arteries, and one vein, the umbilical vein. The umbilical vein supplies the fetus with oxygen, nutritional blood from the mother's placenta. Conversely, the fetal heart pumps low oxygen containing blood, nutrient depleted blood through the umbilical arteries back to the placenta. But that's interesting how the placenta is actually
Still working.
yeah, it's part of it's the same DNA as the baby. Like it's literally the baby. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But even when it comes out, it's still working.
Right,
Like,
it's still alive.
It's still like, yeah, it's still alive.
I think you can see it dry out too after a couple of days. It gets drier and drier.
Yeah, I think because the baby
It's taking the nutrients still. Yeah.
You know, but it's still like working and until it falls. And then I think once it takes all the nutrients, it finally like just dries up and falls off.
Yeah, it dries up and gets like a scab, like it's healing and then it just falls off.
Yeah. So if anything were to happen to the mother, at least the baby just like has that extra chance of that whatever came from me and give it to the baby still, you know? You can imagine like passing away after childbirth.
And it's they did tests on this too, like it's direct correlation from genius babies or quote unquote, they could say genius babies. You know, the ones that keep it on, they're walking at an earlier age. Yeah, they comprehended things faster. They speaking earlier than typical babies, you know what I mean? So
they even say like about breastfed babies too, you know.
Right, versus the milk,
Versus
formula.
blood, you know, but I can imagine being breastfed and that placenta. The baby.
Right. Yeah. So the umbilical cord develops by the 5th week of development, replacing the yolk sac at the source of nutrients for the embryo. The cord is not directly connected to the mother's circulatory system, but instead joins the placenta, which transfers materials to and from the maternal blood without allowing direct mixing. The umbilical cord in a full-term fetus is usually about 20 inches long, about 7 inches in diameter. This diameter decreases rapidly when within the placenta. The fully patent umbilical artery has two main arteries, an outer layer consisting of circulatory, arranged smooth muscle cells, an inner layer which shows rather irregularly and loose arranged cells. The umbilical cord contains Wharton's jelly. The umbilical cord contains Wharton's jelly, a gelatinous substance which protects the blood vessels inside. And that's crazy because bees produce the royal is called royal honey, but royal jelly, when the queen bee is converting a female to become a drone, or that's what a bee is, a drone. It's honey that it vibrates around, like it does like it's crazy. That's what my mind went when, you know, it's the same concept. It contains one vein which carries oxygen, nutrient-rich blood to the fetus, and two arteries that carry deoxygenated nutrient-depleted blood away. So two things happening. Nutrients is coming in and toxins are coming out.
That's so amazing.
And that's just all automatic. That's just what the body just does. Like all this is happening. Like it's like a supercomputer.
Yeah.
It just
That's
does
what I
it.
say, like, that's totally life of its own.
Yeah.
To still, help that baby. Again, like, even if the mother were to like pass away, like that is
That's-
like, the
yeah.
machine that will help that baby still.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Connection to fetal circulatory system. The umbilical cord enters the fetus via the abdomen, at the point which, after separation, will become the umbilicus or navel. Within the fetus, the umbilical vein continues towards the liver, where it splits into two. One of these branches carries blood into the liver. The second branch bypasses the liver, carries blood towards the heart. So we see the functions of what the umbilical cord is connected to. It's not just this one line, it's multiple functions on the other end, and it splits apart, right?
Amazing.
The second branch bypasses the blood to the heart. The two umbilical arteries pass on either side of the urinary bladder into the umbilical cord, completing the circuit back to the placenta. Some mothers choose to omit cord severance entirely, a practice called lotus birth, or umbilical non-severance. The entire intact umbilical cord is allowed to dry and separate on its own, typically on the third day after the birth, falling off and leaving a healed umbilicus. It is believed that there are still important messages to be sent from the placenta and newborn infant. So there's still messages that you just talked about, basically. It's still messages in there. It's not fully developed yet. So it come out the womb, it's still a little more nutrients that it can get.
Yeah, that's also why when you leave, like the bath first, people leave the baby in the car. You pull it up for hot air.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the baby actually takes its first breath out the water. So if you have a pool birth, it thinks it's in your stomach still.
Mhm.
As soon as you grab it out the water, the first breath, right?
Yeah, because it's in water, so,
Right. Mhm.
Just flowing to the next water.
yeah.
That's why you should get some dolphin sound. When they do that, because there's another thing that they do. Dolphins, because they use
Sonar.
sonar. So it's like telepathic messages to the baby. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, it actually helps with murder. People go out to the ocean, like on a certain island, get out there and they'll protect the baby.
Yeah, they will.
They'll come swim around you, know what I'm saying? Give you all the energy. Watching videos.
Yeah, if you go to I think if you go to the beach right now, like
Yeah.
they're gonna come up to you. The dolphins.
They probably would.
They do.
Yeah.
But basically, when you think about it, like we have two sides of this. We have the land, we got our life.
Mhm.
It's essentially
Exactly.
like what's in that ocean is so nation.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The dolphins, how they're so intelligent. You definitely know, when the woman is pregnant, they come on.
That's why, like even just the sound, sound bowls and all that. Same thing, you should be having sound bowls, waterfalls, and then go to National Geographic, put the on YouTube or something, dolphins. You know what I'm saying? Have waterfalls in the background playing, and then let the dolphins just keep making that noise and watch how they hear that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even going to SeaWorld and stuff, I was like, these things are very intelligent. Like they were so intelligent. I was like, that's amazing.
Sure.
What are they doing?
They can do all kind of tricks from like just jumping up and then you can give them like little fish. The lady was getting on them, riding them as like skis and like they just
Look at it like this too.
they would do the,
Ocean,
you know,
Ocean,
do
they
the
got that same,
the
they got
jump.
that same thing, 'cause I know it's like SeaWorld, how you say it, but in the ocean, they got that same thing. Same with, killer whales, what we call them.
Orcas.
Orcas,
Yeah,
yeah, like
orcas.
orcas. Yeah, like they work in unison to get a prey, you know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
yes.
It's crazy.
No, they can make a wave, you know, like when the sea lion was on the little piece of ice.
Ice,
It
yeah.
was coming up and they would work all together and like there's like five of them and they'll come up and they'll just do that thing and then they'll make a wave and then they'll push that sea lion off of the ice. It's like a little piece of ice. They'll push it off, they'll go into the water and it's like free food sweat, you know? But the dolphins, they go after the
Sharks.
they'll go after the sharks, but they go after food, what is it, the tuna fish or whatever, you know? And they know how to, the sardines, they know how to work in unison, and when they go up and down like that, jump out, they call more and more, yeah. And then what they do is they get all these, cause they all stay together, the little sardines and stuff like that, they all stay together. And there's like a lot of them, and what they do is they surround them, and then they use the top of the water as the shield, you know, like the top of the ocean as the shield, and they'll be surrounding underneath them, and then all they do is like jump up and eat them. Yeah, that's all they do is take everybody, get their turn, and then they eat them, and then they just jump out of the water, you know, and just like eat them, because they're all sticking together, but they hunt is superb. Like their teamwork is just like.
Yeah. Brother Benjamin, Brother Salim, anybody got any thoughts? Anything that they want to talk about in general?
Islam, nah, just good insight. I'm just listening. Islam.
Yeah, likewise, just here listening in, and that's my first time hearing reading out that book. Some spirituality. That's my first time hearing that, but yeah, spirituality for religions. Yeah, that's my first time ever hearing that, and to see how it just translates to the real world, like you make move relations and about the woman's body or mother's body is like breaking it down to like the T. So that was phenomenal to hear, but I don't have anything for them. That was great for me to go steady for sure. That sounds like that's a book, like a Morris book.
It's brother Brother Kaba.
Sure. It's on.
You know, I like to say this is not a Morris book like that. He's more, you know.
Yeah. I've seen a video with Brother Todd before. And he, gotta take the bones out.
Right.
Yeah.
There's still some info in there, and I like reading books like that because it kind of hits home the Morris paradigm anyways.
Yeah.
Cross-referencing, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
I yield though.
Yep, that's line. Jaleesa, how you doing over there?
All is well. How is everyone?
Oh,
Islam.
Was it insightful? I'm not sure when you chimed in.
Yeah, it was very insightful. I feel like we kind of touched on this conversation in our chat a couple of days ago. We just know how, amazing the woman's body is. And then we have, some transgender women who want the capability of doing that to kind of rid of us, but it's like, in reality, it's impossible. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy how society just tries to put this like narrative, like, oh, it's possible. And if women can do it, anyone can. No, it's more deeper than that. So, this is just crazy. And I think I say this all the time, how things just kind of come back full circle. And it's just like you kind of have to focus a little bit on that, or it kind of tells me like, hey, hound in on this section for a minute, because like I said, we briefly kind of talked about this in our chat, and now we're talking about it again. So it's just, it's insightful, just validating basically everything that we were saying. But at the end of the day, the woman's body is just such a, so amazing at what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, Islam. I think that's what inspired the chapter. I think it was Charissa.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, like, and then like they always like, even though I like the hysterectomy, sometimes it's like so popular and they kind of remove the uterus. But
Hysterectomy.
now, yeah, but now you're thinking like, shit, they're probably taking it and then,
Yeah.
because I mean, they'll volunteer, like, if you have like a heavy flow of period or something and you just don't want to have a period anymore, they'll be like, oh, we can take your uterus out, don't worry, But you think about it now, it's like, oh, they're probably just taking it and putting it,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta realize too, everything that's in our bodies, apparently it's there for a reason. Once you take those things out, it causes some type of imbalance, somewhere. So I think that we have to be mindful of those type of things. I mean, it comes in handy, it sounds good, but long-term effects, it could be something that's detrimental. But we have those things in our bodies for a reason, and I think it's important that we keep it that way.
Yes. Yeah, and does not promote it as such.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just thinking like they're promoting it obviously to take it and put it in, like the transgender or whatever, but just to promote to take it out or use it for their own personal gain or whatever. But it's just weird now that that they really do stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Brother Sharif, how you doing over there, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm just soaking it all in.
Insightful? You learned
Yes,
something?
sir. Yeah.
All right,
It's long, brother.
So anybody just transitioning, anybody that needs a nationality card, anybody that has nationality paperwork already done, once again, please scan them and email them to me so I can upload them to the website for our public record purposes. If anybody's interested or they're ready to exercise using a nationality card for their travels, you can get with me so I can show you all how to register your conveyance with the temple. Trying to think anything else.
That's for like you trying to go to the airport, whatever. You got to get them through your ID or something like that, or